Imagine relying on your closest allies for your security, only to have them suddenly cancel your defense contracts. You wouldn't just leave your country's borders wide open. You'd go to the factory and build your own national defense system. On a global scale, that is exactly the path Turkey is taking. For decades, they relied on their allies in NATO to provide the high-end technology needed to keep their borders safe. That relationship changed when Turkey was pushed out of America's F-35 fighter jet program. Losing access to that stealth technology meant Turkey suddenly had a significant gap in its long-term defense plans. Instead of looking for a new supplier, Turkey made a decision to end its reliance on foreign parts. They began a massive project to design and build their own high-tech weapons entirely within their own borders. This move towards self-reliance is happening as global tensions rise. Recent modern conflicts, like the war in Ukraine, have shown that being unable to produce your own equipment can be a major strategic risk. Being cut off from their allies forced a change in Turkey's national priority. They are now focused on reaching a point of total military independence. To maintain this kind of independence, a country needs two distinct layers: a long-range strike capability and a robust defensive perimeter. Let's look at that strike capability first. This diagram shows how a basic ballistic missile works. It's effectively a rocket that carries a payload high into the upper atmosphere, arcs over, and then uses gravity to drop back down onto a target. Now, look at this 5,500-kilometer line. Once a missile can travel this far, it's considered an ICBM, a rocket capable of striking another continent entirely. It is the difference between a weapon that protects a local region and one that can reach across the globe. Turkey is now entering this long-range category with a new weapon called the Yildirimhan, or lightning. As you can see on the chart, its projected range pushes past the standard threshold to hit the 6,000-kilometer mark. Reaching that distance is only half the challenge. The missile is also designed to carry a payload weighing 3,000 kilograms. To move that much weight across the world, you need massive power. This blueprint shows the missile's 4 separate engines. It uses a specific liquid fuel, providing enough thrust to act like 4 high-performance engines working together to lift a heavy load. That power allows the Yildirimhan to reach Mach 25, over 30,000 kilometers per hour. At those speeds, defensive systems simply cannot react. Designing a propulsion system this powerful is a significant technological step. It moves Turkey's military capability from simple border defense into the new category of a global strategic power. However, having a long-range strike capability doesn't help if your own home remains unprotected from the sky. That is why Turkey is investing $6.5 billion into a massive defensive project they have named the Steel Dome. While systems like Israel's Iron Dome stop short-range rockets, Turkey's Steel Dome is built for threats at different altitudes. As shown here, it uses multiple layers of sensors to track and stop everything from low-flying drones to high-altitude missiles. This shield is supported by other domestic projects. Since they can no longer buy the F-35, Turkey is developing its own stealth fighter jet, the Khan, to patrol its own airspace. That independence continues on the ground. They are now producing their own heavy armor, including the Altay tank, allowing them to equip their army without relying on foreign factories. By connecting the Steel Dome with their own native jets and their own heavy tanks, Turkey is creating a self-contained defense ecosystem. Because they manufacture the parts themselves, no foreign government can ever leverage them by threatening to cut off their supply. When a country builds these kinds of capabilities entirely on its own, it changes the map. Let's look at the actual reach of these new systems. Centered on Turkey, a 6,000-kilometer radius shows the Yildirimhan's reach, covering Europe, Africa, the Middle East, and Asia. The timing is vital. Regions highlighted here, specifically Iran and Israel, are at the center of intense global instability involving the U.S. Tensions between Turkey and Israel are already high. Analysts believe Israel now views Turkey's rapid growth in independent military technology as a major long-term shift in the regional power balance. There is also a concern that when one nation achieves a breakthrough like this, neighboring countries will feel a need to respond, potentially starting a new and expensive missile race across the region. Turkey's leadership is clear about this strategy. Their defense minister has noted that the nature of modern war has changed, and Turkey has had to change its own security plans to keep up. The Yildirimhan missile and the Steel Dome are more than just hardware. They are a signal that Turkey is no longer just a customer for global defense technology, but a country capable of building its own future. Do you think this push for military independence will make the region more stable, or is it the start of a dangerous new arms race? Let me know what you think in the comments.